Frankie Nicole here. Survived the worst of my cold, but I'm coming to you so that I can bring you the tarot and astrological updates. I am alive. I have a hat on to keep myself warm because I was finally able to shower. I know, awesome. Because when you're sick and you just are like shivering and like you get out of the shower and you're like, I just want to be back in the shower. Yeah. So, I want to introduce some new stuff that I got. I got some nice new stones, so hopefully this time I won't lose mine. Because, girl, she getting crazy. Whoa, where'd that one come from? So, can't remember the names of them, but they're really, really neat. I got a couple different colored stones. I think this one's the red jasper, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look them up. This one has a really cool sheen to it. I'd really like to get this one in like a necklace. But it's always good to have these stones. So we shall burn some sage to begin with, to cleanse, because we don't want to bring any toxic negative energy that the cold is bringing in. And Lady McLiderson is apparently not wanting to be working. Okay, there we go. We have some naughty cats here today, knocking over water glasses and all that good stuff. Alright, I'm going to leave that, let that burn a little bit. Right there. And then I was going to do a little spell for you guys, because why not? So we have hibiscus, these. Nicely. Smell nice too. It smells really nice. We have some rose petals. Let's see if we can set off the smoke alarm. Haha. And I wanted to do this spell for peace and love, because with so much crap out there, I want to encourage everyone to continue feeling the love and not the hate and anger and pain that we all can so feel out there, because it is just, Saturn coming into Sagittarius it's a reality check. That's, Sagittarians are so silly because they live with the constant truth and reminder of the truth that everything is not so great. So we just kind of tend to be goofballs about it all instead, rather than, have to be doom and gloom all the time, because nobody wants the negative Nancy, nobody wants the high horse, nobody wants any of that. They want to have fun. They want to, forget things that are going on and just play. And, the centaur says, all right, well, then let's play. Hey, let me get you. Hey, ho, ho. And it's difficult because we want, I don't need that one. We want everybody to pay attention. We want everybody to, be real and know what's going on, but it's really hard to tell people the truth when they don't want to hear it. Alright, so that's percolating. And we have our sage here still. I mean, I have to live with the truth of myself constantly. Everything I do, I always double check within myself, and I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. Even though it's, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's totally hilarious, or that's something that's totally like, I should totally do that. That would be really fun. Oh wait, but then tomorrow this and this and this, or I'm gonna not have any money for this or this, and it's like this crazy, stupid responsibility, forethought of the bigger picture and understanding it, and not actually getting to enjoy any of the details because you know what's going to happen the next day. Trust me, I'd love to just go have fun, but I know exactly what's going to happen. So it's like, is it worth it? All right, so I also brought out my love cards back again because they're back at home. And I am really happy to say that my trip was very successful, at least for that moment. We shall see otherwise what else happens, but, all you can be is in the here and now, I guess, and then do the overarching look. So I'm going to read with 3 decks today, and let's see. There is an article I wanted to share with, this new thing I learned, and I had experienced it before, but never had a term for the process of what it was, and it's called gaslighting, and this totally describes my relationship with my ex-boyfriend, whom to this day I still wonder who was in the wrong. Was it me? Was it him? Even though, he's the one who perpetrated all that violence and abuse against me, it was, sometimes I would wonder if I had egged him on in some way. But then I think back and things are so cloudy because we don't always remember everything perfectly correct. And so it's difficult to actually pinpoint exactly what was going down. But I think to the most of my knowledge, I know that I was the victim and not the perpetrator. So it's called gaslighting, and it's an attempt of one person to overwrite another person's reality. And it's and it's not usually deliberate, or it doesn't have to be deliberate. It can be deliberate. So sometimes someone can be perpetrating this without knowing or understanding what they're actually doing. So when we think that someone is playing games with us and messing with our head, sometimes what we don't realize is that they're probably not doing it on purpose, but they've just been conditioned to think that this is the proper way to go about a situation. Unfortunately, it's not, and unfortunately, it's very harmful and hurtful to other people, which is why it's important for all of us to recognize and know about this situation. And I've been trying my hardest in my interactions with people, which don't always go for the best, to make them cognizant of their behaviors and what is hurtful, and I don't always take things like 100% personally, because I understand people and I understand that everybody makes mistakes, but sometimes when it comes out, it doesn't always come out so nice, and I try to make it nice, but there really is no nice way to say, you're a fucking jerk, go fuck yourself. I mean, there probably is, but it's more fun to say it that way. Anyways, let's see. It's basically you're insisting that someone else is just imagining these things that you're perpetrating upon them, if you are the gaslighter and not the gaslightee. And you're basically erasing parts of someone else's memory and inputting your own spin on it and making them believe that they are thinking that that's the truth. We learn how to control and manipulate each other very naturally. The distinguishing feature between someone who gaslights and someone who doesn't is internalized paradigm of ownership. And in my experience, identifying that paradigm is a lot easier than spotting gaslighting. Gaslighting tends to follow when intimidation is no longer acceptable. I believe that gaslighting is happening culturally and interpersonally on an unprecedented scale, and this is the result of the societal framework where we pretend everyone is equal while trying to simultaneously preserve inequality. You can see it in the media constantly. For instance, every time an obvious hate crime is portrayed, it is an isolated case of mental illness. This is gaslighting, especially when it comes to white male crime. The media is saying to you, what you know to be true is not true. Domestic violence wasn't seen as a serious crime until the 1970s. So did we, in the last 40 years, address the beliefs that caused domestic violence? No, we did not. But now, if you beat your wife, you're usually considered to be a bad guy. So what do you do with all the beliefs that would lead you to violence? If violence was no longer an acceptable option, you use manipulation and you use gaslighting. Manipulation and gaslighting are distinct behaviors. Maybe a better way to put this is that gaslighting is a type of manipulation, but not the only type. Manipulation usually centers around a direct or indirect threat, and that is made to a person in order to influence their behavior. Gaslighting uses threats as well, but has the goal of actually changing who someone is, not just their behavior. It is important to recognize that gaslighting and garden variety manipulation are not the same. Both will degrade your self-esteem, but gaslighting, when effective, will actually damage your trust in yourself and your experience of reality. So basically, it is messing with your reality and the reality of what you believe. Gaslighting does not always involve anger or intimidation. The book The Gaslight Effect refers to a type of gaslighting called glamorous gaslighting. This is where the gaslighter showers you with special attention, tells you, "Oh, if only we could be together. Oh, I do love you," or "I feel this, but it never actually gives you what you need. They put you on a pedestal, but then they are not there. In fact, they may get angry at you when you need a shoulder to cry on, or you need to go actually do your own thing in life. You need to go to your job. "Oh, why are you going?" That kind of behavioral programming where when you do something that you are free to go do, it upsets them, so you don't do it, so they are not upset, because otherwise they will overreact in a massive way. It becomes difficult after a while to identify why it is that you feel so alone and hollow. In another type of gaslighting, the gaslighter is always transformed into the victim. Whenever you bring up a problem, you find yourself apologizing by the end of the conversation. For me, these were the worst exchanges. Every gaslighty relationship is different, but for me, there was this very specific pattern. I would say something to him, and he would have a very strong emotional reaction to it, far above what would be anticipated, and I would backtrack to try and figure out what he had said, how to make it better. He would accuse me of inconsistency when I backtracked, and I would try to explain that I was adjusting to try to communicate best with him, because clearly I was failing. He would tell me that my inconsistency implied that I was lying. And I would just say, no, I'm not lying. Maybe I can't remember it right. It seems you just can't trust your memory, he would say. We would never return to the original issue, and I would end up crying hysterically. So, going off that basis, I mean, these are like abuse tools 101, where you're basically lulling somebody into this idea that they are the ones in the wrong consistently, and that they have to basically apologize, and that they have to be someone who is adhering to your whim and the way that you need them to be as this gaslighter abuser. So I'm not saying that it's always conscious behaviors, but if we are more mindful of the type of behaviors that we portray in life and that we go through, and we can pull back and kind of realize when we start to put these into play, we can have a better society where we are more mindful of things that we do and perpetrate upon other people. So with that lovely and bright subject, I'm going to pull some love cards because we need to remind ourselves of love, which is so very uncool and so very not American 21st century behavior, because we're all just supposed to be, jerks and assholes to each other because that's the American way. Well, I refuse to believe that that is the American way. I refuse to believe that it's uncool to be a loving person, and I refuse to stop being that kind and loving, gentle soul that I am. I might say fuck a few too many times, but that's just a side effect. And honestly, that's not really that bad. What's worse, if I was using my, gaslighting abilities to emotionally manipulate somebody into believing that they needed to be under my, lock and key or whatever. So, with that, we'll do some, there's so many decks here, oh my god. I don't know, maybe 3 was not the best idea. Oh, look at that. There's 3 right there. And everybody has a different way of pulling from the deck, which is so fascinating. I love it. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever the universe tells you to, huh? Okay, there's 1, 2, and 3. Oh my god, I don't know if you can hear my mom. She's laughing upstairs. It's crazy. My parents are the best. It's not too shabby, huh? I love them for their own specific characteristics and ways. We may not always agree on things, but here we are. Alright. Okay, wow, alright. So, ooh, lots of cups. And I love this deck. I love my newest deck. It's so beautiful. Oh my god, and we have, yep. So, interesting. Let's see if I can do this. Haha, let's challenge myself. So, the beginning of the week, we have a return of people that, in our lives, and we have lots of things, lots of emotional, feelings and choices coming at us. Because we have the 3 of Cups in reverse, which can talk about reunions, friendship reunions, people that you've known from the past coming back. In reverse, it may just weaken it a little bit. It could be a little bit of somebody who has kind of been in your life but not really tried to be, very close. So there may be a little distance between the 2 of you. And we have the 7 of Cups upright, which is all about, choices and options and lots of feelings. There's so much going on. And then we have Karma, which is also known as the Justice card. I love this card. It's so beautiful. Look at that! Little baby at the bottom. It's like showing the whole life cycle. So cool. And so it's talking about you might have to be making some choices about people in your life, or the people may be making choices about you, or you might just have to be, or decisions. You just might be having to make some understandings about, who is in your close circle and who's in the outer circle, and how far do you want your circle to go? Because we have these, the 7 of Cups. And it's Lord of Illusionary Success, which is also just kind of when we have options, it's not always we actually have all those things. It's just we kind of have the opportunity to open a couple different doors. But once we go through one door, we can only, that's the path that we're choosing, and we have to, make a decision, and karma is all about making decisions. So maybe you're editing your friends list, maybe you are expanding your friends list, maybe you are trying to figure out, something in your life where you want a direction that you want to go, and it involves, having to change the people that you are around. Um, and karma or judgment usually talks about not making choices right off the bat. It's kind of like there is a choice to be made, but maybe it talks more about waiting and not quite making that decision yet. So in the middle of the week, we have the Nine of Swords reversed, we have the Eight of Cups upright, and we have the Seven of Cups again, or cauldrons. So it seems like we're having a lot of anxiety over all of choosing this, pathway that we are trying to go on. And the Nine of Swords reversed can mean that there is something that we are legitimately worried about, but most worries you can't worry about anyways because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. However, sometimes the Nine of Swords can refer to the fact that we have moved past those anxieties. We've actually taken a hold of, the fear that we perceive, and we are deciding that instead of believing in that fear, we're going to let it go, and we are just going to, which is also represented with the Eight of Cups, is about letting things go and not buying into an emotional state. And so I think we're going to move past a lot of these fears, especially in according to this Seven of Cups. I mean, these cards are not by accident. I mean, yes, we have 3 different decks, and we could get, multiples, but it's not by accident. So it looks like you get over the anxiety and you do make a choice, because we have the Eight of Cups here. And then at the end of the week and the weekend, we have the Sun upright, which is great. It's like this warm, fantastic, beautiful, bright light. I mean, we have the 2 people here, and they're running off into the sunset, and they're like, yay, everything is fantastic, yeah, happy days. And things are just, health is good. We have the brightness of all of it. And we do have the Magician here in reverse, though, which can indicate that somebody is being deceptive. So perhaps that we are trying to figure out, and we're trying to navigate through a deception. However, we also have the Ten of Swords reversed, which, Ten of Swords can be seen as a negative card. It's, it's pretty like, oh, there's lots of swords. But in reverse, it usually signifies that it's not only the things, it's the ending. So we have the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, but it's the understanding of everything that has gone on. We see the bigger picture. We see how everything has fallen into place and why everything had to be the way that it had to be for a certain period of time for us to get to this beautiful sunny day, which is fantastic because, honestly, even though we have the Magician reversed and that, we may feel like we don't know where we're going or what we're supposed to be doing, we're kind of like, oh, the Magician in reverse is like, I don't know how to use my power to figure out what I'm trying to be doing. Or somebody's, pulling the wool over our eyes and it's making us confused, so we don't quite know how to use our power. But we know, we've been through this, we know how to, and this is actually a perfect example of how this, gaslighting projects into this, is we know. So we can see how someone could manipulate us, and we can walk away. And I'm actually being called to pull another card. So I'm going to pull one from the Hermetic Tarot. Oh, and it's the King of Wands. So perhaps there's a male energy fire sign that is coming, and that is the overall understanding of the week, or the theme of the week, let's do one from each, just to, Oh, and we have the Hierophant in reverse, which is all about doing things differently, in non-conventional ways. So maybe an unconventional, and we are in the time of Sagittarius, and the Sun and Saturn are both in Sagittarius. So, and then we have the Three of Pentacles. So this, I believe, is talking about how we are not going to be confused and tricked into poor judgment because and by people that are pulling our attention away from where we might think that we should be, because we are now starting to cultivate our talents and our in a non-conventional way, and move forward like this King of Wands. He's in the upright, so it's good. He's very industrious. He's all about making things happen and going for exactly what he is passionate about, because wands are all about passion, and they're seen as like overachievers. They do a whole lot. They're always doing things, talking. There's just so much going on, and those are wands people. We are very fiery, and fire is gonna it's gonna go, and it's gonna do, and it's gonna burn, and you might get burned along the way, but you just have to know that it's gonna get the job done. So I think that by the end of the week, we realize, even though we may feel confused, of how best to make our power to give us what we really need. And I think that a fire sign, masculine or male, masculine energy or male, in a non-traditional way is definitely going to help us out. And all we must do is be willing to make a decision about where we want to go and what we want in our lives. Alright. Your spiritual awareness is growing, and so too is your sexuality. Sensuality is heightened, and this has a magical effect on the one that you love. A sacred union is reborn. Love is in the present moment. From a physical perspective, some relationships may seem less than perfect, yet from a higher perspective, all relationships are sacred, for they help us to grow in love and wisdom. Dwelling on the past and future keeps me from experiencing the power of now. I make a conscious choice to be present. I accept love now. I'm grateful for your love. Your love is like a burst of sunshine on a cloudy day. Your smile is imprinted in my heart. Your beauty is reflected in the stars. Or your booty. Hey. Your essence is the air I breathe. Sorry, that was supposed to be all like romantic and sweet, and then I said booty, so there you go. In order to cope with the separation from a loved one, we need to realize that spiritually we are always connected to those we love, and neither distance nor time can separate that which is united by love. I think that one's my favorite one. It's like if you close your eyes and you shoot your energy out into the universe and you direct it to the person that you wish to direct it to, they can feel it, and so can you. And you hold that space in your heart, and they hold that space in their hearts for you, because in truth, everybody wishes to be loved, regardless of how negative or awful they seem on the outside. Everybody desires that love. Now, whether they go about it the right way or not, that's another story. But we all wish to be loved. We all wish to seek each other out and share energies and be one as this gigantic universe of energies all mixing and matching and floating around. So with that, I wish you a wonderful week, and I hope that everything goes well and you can make some fantastic decisions with your life. All right. Bye-bye.